Making the headlines tonight. Prince Norodom Ranariddh's ashes have arrived back home. His half-brother King Norodom Sihamoni and the Queen Mother Norodom Moninith Sihanouk pay their respects. Prime Minister Hun Sen inaugurates the National Road 11 in Prey Veng province, where the confirmation came that Cambodia will produce the Sinopharm vaccine soon. The Ministry of Health lifts the travel ban for 10 African countries with revised health measures in place. The 2021 National Tug of War Championship kicks off in the Kandal province with a series of qualifiers. And Cambodia's Miss Grand International, Po Kim Teng Sotida, lands in the top 10, grabbing the Popular Vote Award. This is the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. My name is Paolo Bonini. Prince Ranariddh has passed away on the 28th of November in France at the age of 77. He was the second son of the late King Father Norodom Sihanouk and was the half-brother of the current king. This Monday morning, Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni, King of the Kingdom of Cambodia, and His Majesty Queen Mother of Cambodia paid their respects to the late Prince Ranariddh at a royal ceremony at the mortuary at Samdek Pan Street, Phnom Penh. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the details.
The body of Prince Norodom Ranariddh has been escorted to the mortuary house on Samdek Pan Down Pen district in Phnom Penh. At the mortuary, a royal ceremony will be held with the presence of Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni and his mother, Majesty Queen Moninith Sihanouk. Prince Ranariddh's remains has been brought from France into his home country last Sunday. On Monday, the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, has delivered his condolences to Majesty King Sihamoni, stating Prince Ranariddh was a close friend of the Chinese people, with the important role of enhancing relations between the two nations as an important member of the Cambodian royal family. In gratitude and to pay tribute to the late Prince Ranariddh, the royal government has designated Wednesday this week as a day of national mourning by requiring all ministries, institutions, schools, hospitals, public and private sectors, and civil servants, as well as all the armed forces, pagodas, and people throughout the country to hoist the flag at half-mast. At the same time, all national and private radio and television stations must suspend their performances and broadcasts various entertainment scenes in order to pay their respects to the late prince. Norodom Ranariddh passed away at the age of 77 in France on 28 November. He was born on 2 January 1944 as the second son of Prince Norodom Sihanouk and his wife Pad Khanol. He was the first prime minister from 1993 to 1997 and the president of the National Assembly from 1998 to 26. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
Senate President Sai Chum, National Assembly President Heng Samrin, and Prime Minister Hun Sen. They have all paid respect to the late Prince Norodom Ranariddh on Monday, the deceased half-brother of King Norodom Sihamoni. Prince Ranariddh died on the 28th of November in France at the age of 77. He succumbed to his illness. Upon arrival on Sunday, his body was embalmed for a further 4 days prior to cremation. Cambodian leaders found time to pay their last respects to the former Prime Minister of Cambodia. He was the first Prime Minister from 1993 to 1997 and the President of the National Assembly from 1998 to 2006. Last Friday, Prime Minister Hun Sen has issued a proclamation announcing the 8th of December as a national day of mourning for Prince Ranariddh and requiring that all ministries, schools, hospitals, military bases, pagodas and the general public fly the Cambodian flag at half-mast. Prince Norodom Ranariddh's remains will also be cremated on Wednesday, the 8th of December. Senate President Say Chum, National Assembly President Heng Samrin, and Prime Minister Hun Sen. They all paid respect to the late Prince Norodom Ranariddh on Monday. The deceased half-brother of King Norodom Sihamoni, Prince Ranariddh died on the 28th of November in France at the age of 77. He succumbed to his illness. Upon arrival on Sunday, his body was embalmed for a further 4 days prior to cremation. Cambodian leaders find time to pay their last respect to the former Prime Minister of Cambodia. He was the first Prime Minister from 1993 to 1997 and the President of the National Assembly from 1998 to 2006. Last Friday, Prime Minister Hun Sen has issued a proclamation announcing the 8th December as a national day of mourning for Prince Ranariddh and requiring that all ministries, schools, hospitals, military bases, pagodas and the general public fly the Cambodian flag at half-mast. Prince Norodom Ranariddh's remains will also be cremated on Wednesday, the 8th of December. Prime Minister Hun Sen has inaugurated National Road 11 in Prey Veng Province on Monday. During the inauguration ceremony, Prime Minister Hun Sen has expressed gratitude to China as Cambodia's friend of steel. On behalf of the Chinese government, Ambassador Wang Wentin has attended the ceremony, announcing more development for Cambodia aided by China. One of them is the factory for COVID-19 vaccine. EAC News reporter Ria Soka has the story.
The 96.48 kilometers road's construction started in 2018 through China's concessional loan to Cambodia worth over $94 million. Prime Minister Hun Sen has again reiterated how grateful he is for China's continued support to Cambodia and the friendship between the two nations. Ambassador Wang Wenchen has represented the Chinese government during the ceremony. In his speech, he has announced that Cambodia will soon use locally produced COVID-19 vaccine. He says Chinese vaccine maker Sinopharm is currently in talks with the Cambodian Ministry of Health to open a vaccine factory in Cambodia. This was in response to Prime Minister Hun Sen's request from China almost 3 weeks ago. Apart from the vaccine factory, the Chinese ambassador has also informed that their team is studying the possibility of Cambodia being able to export more agricultural products to China. The Chinese ambassador says a team from the Chinese government will evaluate Cambodia's longan fruit and fish farm to enable Cambodia to export directly to China soon. The evaluation has been agreed to be done online due to the COVID-19 situation. Prime Minister Hun Sen was delighted upon hearing the good news from the Chinese government. In addition, the Prime Minister has also announced that the COVID-19 situation in Cambodia continues to show positive signs. There were only more than 20 of COVID-19 cases discovered in the country for the past few days. Prime Minister Hun Sen says that because of the low number of cases recorded, some treatment centers have to close. However, he has urged Phnom Penh Governor Kong Sreng to build a new treatment facility for COVID-19 patients while taking them out from the Olympic Stadium. He says that stadium must be ready for sports events, especially the Southeast Asian Games, which is scheduled to happen in 2023. The Prime Minister has highlighted the great success of Cambodia's fight against COVID-19. In connection, he has slammed Vietnamese Deputy Defense Minister Nguyen Xuan Xuan for calling Cambodia as a source of contagion to Vietnam. He says the Vietnamese general should apologize to him and to the Cambodian people, adding that what he said is unacceptable. On Sunday, Vietnam found nearly 1,400 cases of COVID-19. Prime Minister Hun Sen has also announced during his speech that he will meet the Foreign Minister of Myanmar, Wannamaung Luin, on Tuesday. He has added that the ASEAN has no right to expel any member and that ASEAN's decision is made in the spirit of consensus. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
Landmines are a cruel legacy of the troubled times Cambodia has had to endure, and they cause incalculable suffering across the nation. But the future looks brighter with every passing day. There is a concerted push on achieving the target of a Cambodia free of this terrible blight by 2025. The Prime Minister addressed this very issue again this week. On Sunday afternoon, the Prime Minister, Hun Sen, has spoken to the Friends of Mine Action about the 1988 win-win policy of national unity and how the kingdom has moved forward with development partners to gradually set Cambodia free from the threats of landmines and other unexploded ordnance. Prime Minister Hun Sen has thanked donors, development partners and other sectors of society for generous financial support and contributions in the assistance in not only decreasing the number of casualties, but also helping in poverty alleviation and socio-economic rehabilitation. His special gratitude was delivered to national and international operators, especially deminers, for participating in high-risk activities promoted by the royal government to clear landmines and ERWs. According to the Prime Minister's message, the royal government hopes Cambodia will be mine-free by 2025, following the National Mine Action Strategy 2018 to 2025. The Kingdom of Cambodia has decided to lift the ban on travellers from 10 African countries, replacing it with new measures to enter the country. The announcement was released on Sunday evening by the Ministry of Health, a week after the Health Ministry's decision to ban travellers from the African countries that show cases of the Omicron variant. EAC News reporter Ria Soka has the details.
Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Malawi, South Angola, and Zambia. Those were the countries the Cambodian Ministry of Health has decided to ban for traveling into the kingdom. Last Thursday, Prime Minister Hun Sen has ordered the Ministry of Health to consider lifting the ban from those 10 African countries, but with strengthened health measures, such as requiring PCR tests. He emphasized that there is nothing to fear with the new variant of COVID-19, as long as there are proper safety health measures in place. On the new announcement, the Ministry of Health revised the health measures by requiring a 7-day quarantine for passengers coming from the 10 African countries mentioned and others considered as countries of concern. A PCR test confirming that the traveler is negative of COVID-19 will be asked by the ministry. They also still need to undergo rapid test upon arrival. If the test is negative, travelers will proceed to the booked hotel for a week quarantine. If they have not booked the hotel, they are required to deposit $1,000. For those who will test positive, they will proceed to the treatment center. The ministry has also specified that the health insurance is required covering COVID-19 expenses. That is in case the traveler will test positive for COVID-19. If the rapid test shows positive upon arrival, another test will be conducted through PCR testing. Meanwhile, unvaccinated travelers arriving in Cambodia are required to undergo 14 days quarantine. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
Cambodia's daily COVID-19 numbers have risen to 120,272. On Monday, only 16 new cases were recorded, a reduction from last week's averages, which were in the 20s. That includes 4 imported cases. 18 patients were successfully treated and discharged overnight. They make the total recoveries 116,627, but there are still deaths. 3 people have lost their lives due to COVID-19 overnight. Again, a reduction from last week's averages, though. Cambodia's total deaths since the beginning of the pandemic now stand at 2,963. Active cases, 682. The Ministry of Public Works and Transport has announced last Saturday to reopen a border crossing with Thailand in Pasat Province. The border crossing between Cambodia and Thailand is critical in more than one way. It is one of the main arteries for not only trade, but also tourism. It is a border crossing like this that are very important to the economy, especially during COVID. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the details.
Minister of Public Works and Transport, Minister Sun Chantol, has made a visit at the Tumoda International Border in Vial Veng district of Pursat Province bordering Thailand last Saturday. The visit was aimed at opening gates between Cambodia and Thailand to increase trade and tourism cooperation between the two countries, as well as to meet the aspirations of the people in the western provinces and investors who are looking forward to seeing the Tmo Da border turn into the international port of all kinds of goods and tourism. Minister Sang Chantol has stated that infrastructure plans between Cambodian and Thai provinces of Pursat and Trat, respectively, include the construction of immigrant buildings, customs and exercise buildings, joint inspections, parking lots for transit of goods, warehouses, container grounds and administrative buildings, as well as dormitory buildings to open up opportunities for international cooperation and investments. According to the minister, cross-border trade, job creation and tourism attraction aim to boost the family economy and society of both nations. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
A large explosion was heard near the city centre of Iran's Natanz nuclear site on Saturday. Officials have explained the noise to be an air defence test. They say a missile was fired into the sky to test air defence responses to any potential threats.
In order to test in-field readiness, one of the missile's defense system of the Natanz region was tested, and this test was made to evaluate the systems placed in the region. And these tests take place in a safe space and with the coordination of the entire defense system. There is no cause for concern. Iran officials have confirmed that the nuclear site has fired a missile to test the rapid reaction force over Natanz. Army spokesman Shaheen Takihani has made an immediate announcement that there is no cause for concern. The Islamic Republic says its nuclear ambitions are peaceful. In April, Iran has accused arch foe Israel of sabotaging its key Natanz nuclear site and has vowed revenge for an attack that appeared to be the latest episode in a long-running covert war. Israeli media outlets have quoted unnamed intelligence sources as saying the country's Mossad spy service has carried out a successful sabotage operation at the underground Natanz complex, potentially setting back enrichment work there by months. But Israel has not formally commented on the incident. Israel has opposed the original 2015 Iran nuclear accord with world powers, which aimed to curb Iran's nuclear program in return for lifting sanctions against Iran, as too limited in scope and duration. Israeli leaders have long threatened military action against Iran if they deem diplomacy a dead end for denying it nuclear weaponry. Indirect talks between Iran and the United States on salvaging the 2015 Iran nuclear deal adjourned on Friday and will resume in the middle of next week. The talks coordinator and China top envoy to the negotiations has confirmed. China's envoy Wang Kun says the talks would resume midweek. The talks coordinator, European Union official Enrique Mora, has also confirmed about the meeting retrieving the 2015 Iran nuclear deal.
Now a look at news making international headlines this Monday, 6th of November.
Vaccines don't make you free. This is what thousands of protesters are shouting against COVID-19 measures in Brussels. Thousands of protesters took to the streets of Brussels on Sunday to march against vaccines and coronavirus restrictions as Europe remains gripped by a resurgence of COVID-19 infections and national authorities fear demonstrators are becoming more radical. Police have said some 8,000 took part, a sharp decline from the 35,000 estimated in a similar protest 2 weeks ago. Groups of protesters clashed with police as the group reached its destination in the Cinquantenaire Park, near the neighborhood housing European Union institutions. Police officers have used water cannons and fired tear gas against projectile-throwing protesters. In the European Union Quarter, a group of protesters wearing black hoods and chanting "Liberty" have started to throw stones at the police, who reacted with tear gas and water cannons. Demonstrators were protesting rules imposed in October that oblige people to show COVID-19 passes to access bars and restaurants. Belgium's government last Friday has tightened sanitary measures against the pandemic in a bid to contain the surge in cases overwhelming the country's hospitals once again and landing Belgium among the worst hit countries in Europe. The latest measures include making mask wearing mandatory for children over the age of 6 and closing kindergartens and primary schools from 28th of December. Several protesters, including some accompanied by children, have carried placards with slogans such as "Our children will not be your guinea pigs."
A footage shows deserted Indonesian residential town, barren landscape covered in volcanic ash. Homes were almost completely submerged after Mount Semeru violently erupts on Saturday. Indonesia's Mount Semeru smoldered on Sunday morning, a day after it has erupted, sending hot ash clouds billowing out of it and killing at least 14 and injuring 98, including 2 pregnant women who had suffered burn injuries as the volcano spewed out huge clouds of smoke and ash. Hundreds are displaced in East Java province. The deputy chief of Lumajang district, Indah Masdar, have confirmed the fatalities and injuries in a virtual conference. 10 people were trapped after the eruption and have been evacuated to safety, the country's disaster mitigation agency have said. Around 1,300 families have been evacuated. Hundreds of houses have been totally destroyed. 33 schools have been damaged by the eruption. Officials say the situation at Mount Semeru remains dangerous due to the risk of pyroclastic flows, a mix of ash, rock, and volcanic gases that can be much more dangerous than lava. Mount Semeru is about 12,000 feet high and one of Indonesia's nearly 130 active volcanoes. It has also erupted in January, causing new casualties. In the Sumberwulu area, thick gray ash coated damaged houses, while volunteers tried to turn away motorists who wanted to go back to their homes near Semeru. Heavy rain is expected for the next 3 days, which could complicate evacuation efforts, a meteorological agency official has announced late on Sunday.
Young motocross star among 3 skiers killed in avalanche while trying to ascend a mountain in Austria. Rising sports star Rene Hofer, 19, and 2 friends have been killed in Salzburg province. 8 members of an 11-strong skiing tour group were hit by a 200-yard wide slab of snow on Saturday in the Twing area. Rene Hofer has died in the snow while 2 of his friends were partly buried and able to free themselves, police have said. The 2 were rescued but later died at a hospital in Klagenfurt. Rescuers were able to locate the others with the help of their search devices.
After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, please, please wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EAC News' audience is growing. Our YouTube channel has over 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube. It's given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EAC News' hard work and incredible achievement. She says we brought a unique voice and style to the world, but have also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to YouTube and search for EAC News. Subscribers get alerts when the daily Roundup is premiering and live events are streaming. Get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. The EAC News channel on YouTube. Cambodia made clear. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
The 2021 National Tug of War Championships, held at the Teacher Training College of Kandal Province, started with a series of qualifiers on Sunday. Participating are sporting associations from both the capital and the provinces, competing for the championship in 2 disciplines, divided into both men and women's categories.
The National Tug of War Championship is supported by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports to continue the goal of developing the tug of war in Cambodia to grow even further. The chairperson of the organizing committee of the Cambodian Tug of War Federation, Saran Det, has confirmed this year's competition includes 9 men's associations with 46 players and 7 women's teams with 45 players. Secretary General of the Cambodian Tug of War Federation, Prag Sampo, stated the main purpose of organizing the 2021 National Championship is to select the best players from clubs across the country to include in the national team and continue strengthening the training capacity at the National Federation to participate in various competitions. Prag Sampo has specifically declared the major goal is to train all players for the 32nd Southeast Asian Games 2023, which will be the first time in the history of Cambodia that the kingdom will host such international competition. At the 2nd of December, Cambodians celebrated the 6th anniversary of the induction of traditional Cambodian tug of war to UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity list. According to Prag Sampo, tug of war is linked to Cambodian tradition and culture with evidences seen in carvings on the walls of many temples around the kingdom.
Lewis Hamilton won an eventful, twice-halted Saudi Arabian Grand Prix on Sunday to send the Formula One World Championship into a winner-takes-all final showdown, as the Mercedes driver and Red Bull's Max Verstappen are now level on points.
On a chaotic night of soaring emotions in Jeddah, the inaugural race in the Gulf Kingdom has taken almost as many twists and turns as an already astonishing and enthralling roller coaster season. There were crashes, safety cars, red flags, claims of dirty driving after Hamilton hit the back of Verstappen's suddenly slowing car, penalties, collisions, and extraordinary exchanges between race director Malcolm Massey and the top two teams. 7 times world champion Hamilton took the bonus point for fastest lap to level with Verstappen on 369.5 points after 21 races. The final round of the season is at Abu Dhabi's Yas Marina next weekend. Verstappen, who finished second with Valtteri Bottas third for Mercedes, leads 9-8 on wins, however, meaning that the Dutch 24-year-old will be champion if neither score another point. After his 103rd career win, Hamilton said he tried to be as tough as he could be out there, but also sensible, and with all his race experience over the years, just keeping the car on track and staying clean.
I didn't quite understand why all of a sudden he hit the brakes quite heavily, and then I ran into the back of him, and then he moved on, so I didn't understand exactly what was going on, and I got a message afterwards that he was going to let us pass, so it was a bit confusing.
The Briton started on pole but twice lost out to Verstappen at standing restarts. The Dutch driver was eventually ordered to hand back the lead after going wide as Hamilton tried to pass, but when he slowed, Hamilton ran into the back of him, accusing his rival of brake testing him. Stewards handed Verstappen a 5-second time penalty, but Hamilton rendered that irrelevant by overtaking 7 laps from the end. Mercedes were angry with Massey, saying that they had not been given time to inform Hamilton that Verstappen had been told to give the place back, and Verstappen was also furious.
Russia took an unassailable 2-0 lead over Croatia in the Davis Cup final in Madrid on Sunday to secure their 3rd title and first in 15 years, as Daniela Medvedev outlasted Croatian Marin Cilic 7-6, 6-2.
Reigning US Open champion Medvedev had to produce his best tennis to survive a tense first set as a confident Cilic sent across 9 forehand winners and won nearly 3/4 of his service points. The awed crowd inside Madrid Arena was reduced to pin drop silence as the 1.90-meter Titans went into a tie break, where Medvedev relied on his backhand to prevail despite an ill-timed double fault. Cilic showed signs of fatigue in the second set as the world number 2 broke his serve in the 4th game before running away with the momentum, dropping just one of his first serve points.
Feels amazing, but I'm more happy for the team than for myself. I mean, we have an amazing team, amazing atmosphere, and I'm just happy to be part of this team and being able to bring the points that we need. And yeah, it was pretty amazing 2 weeks because never easy to come here at the end of the season, but a few of the best weeks of my career, and I'm really happy again for the team more than for myself.
Medvedev got a standing ovation from the crowd and made peace with the Spanish fans following a week of animosity after Russia eliminated Spain in the group stage of the Davis finals. Earlier, world number 5 Andrei Rublev beat Borna Gojo 6-4, 7-6 to give the Russian Federation a 1-0 lead. Russia's 3rd titles equals the Czech Republic and Germany in 7th place on all-the-time list of Davis Cup winners. World number 279 Gojo entered the match as the big surprise of the tournament and a favorite of the Spanish crowd. He was unbeaten in the finals with 3 victories over world number 61 Alexei Popyrin of Australia, number 27 Lorenzo Sonego of Italy, and 33rd ranked Serbian Dusan Lajovic. But Rublev played a nearly flawless match, overpowering Gojo with strong serving to keep the Croatian on the back foot. Gojo batted hard, but Rublev broke his serve at the 4th attempt before taking the opening set in 35 minutes. Gojo fired down 11 aces, and the second set went to 6-6 before Rublev edged the tiebreaker to clinch victory. Russia are the 4th nation to win both Davis Cup and Billie Jean King Cup titles, after the women's team won that event in Prague last month with a 2-0 victory over Switzerland in the finals.
Now let's have a look at the weather and see what you can expect for tomorrow. And finally, Cambodia's Po Kim Teng Sotida has made Cambodians proud with her latest achievement in the Miss Grand International 2021, hosted by Thailand. The native of Battambang has shown a Cambodian's beauty and brains in the world of pageantry and was the people's champion when she won the popular vote.
Zestful Po Kim Teng Sotida introduces herself with grace at the introduction of the Miss Grand International 2021, hosted by Thailand. The 23-year-old native of Battambang province has conquered 59 women from around the globe with the Popular Vote Award. A close fight with Malaysia, Vietnam, Egypt, and South Africa. Out of 60 women, Sotida has landed in top 10. Unfortunately, she did not make it to the top 5. The ladies who landed in top 5 are from Puerto Rico, Ecuador, Brazil, Vietnam, and South Africa. Vietnam took home the crown for the Miss Grand International, followed by Ecuador, Brazil, Puerto Rico, and South Africa. Although she did not make it to the last battle, Sotida arrives back home on Sunday with a huge smile for showing the Cambodian pride in the world of pageantry.
Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, check out our website, eacnews.asia, or search EAC News on Telegram or at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We'll see you then.